Doing that tomorrow. I don't know what time. I'm going to guess 7 o'clock. I'm totally disorganized right now, so I don't remember. But it's going to happen tonight. I'll post it on Telegram and Twitter. I will also be doing a show. So that's that. We're going to dive in. There's really just not too much happening. I'm really just focused on trying to get in the Christmas spirit. To be perfectly honest with you, I'm a little bit checked out. It's been a very long year. It's been a long generational run. And it's been nonstop. I've traveled like 20 times this year. I've done 1 million collaborations. I've been on Alex Jones's show 5 million times. 6 million times. I was on a show 6 million times. Exactly 6 million. No, but 6, maybe 7 million. That's cheap. No, but I've been on his show 1 million times. I did 2 Bradley Martin collaborations. I've been coast to coast. And I'm bringing it in for a landing. I'm ready for my vacation. I'm trying just to get in the Christmas spirit. It's been snowing. I got the Christmas music on. The Christmas decorations are up. Watching the Christmas movies. I'm just focused on the vibe. I'm ready to hibernate. And then I'll be back in the new year. I'll be back.
Hey guys, come on in. And this is getting pretty spicy between Candace and Erika. And Nick Fuentes is inserting himself in there. Tucker Carlson is in this drama. Of course, there's quite a few others. But I am going to be lenient with people, and I'm not going to kick you out if you have differing opinions. But, let's go ahead and react.
Back in 2026 with a whole new everything. Just wait. 26 is going to be unbelievable. So I'm getting ready to go into hibernation. But anyway, so as I said, there's not really too much in the news. We could just say briefly, today the United States seized another, they did this for the first time in this campaign. The United States seized an oil tanker headed from Venezuela to what some people believe could be Iran, maybe Cuba. Major escalation in that campaign, but there's not really too much more to say about it. There is a new defense authorization bill, $900 billion for the military, contains some interesting provisions, $400 million per year for the next 2 years to Ukraine, restricts the president's ability to draw down the troop totals in Europe, gets rid of woke DEI in the military. It's not that interesting. So tonight we're going to get into some other stuff. In our featured story, we're going to talk all about this Candace Owens, Erika Kirk feud. We're going to just do a little drama. We're just going to get into some drama, and we'll just farm out the engagement. We'll farm it out, farm it up. We're going to get some farmers market, locally sourced, raw e-drama content. And I'm sure you saw it today, Candace Owens. She is now explicitly and outright attacking the widow of Charlie Kirk, his wife, Erika. And we all knew this was coming. This was inevitable, and it was obvious. She has been on this crusade now for 3 months. We're going on 3 months. All of September, October, November, and it's going to be another month this December of the conspiracy.
Yeah, just a quick thought here. She's been nonstop, man. Ever since Charlie died, she's been nonstop bankrolling off of his death. That's just my 2 cents.
Soap opera, the drama. And there were 2 things we knew when Candace Owens started this. One, we knew that eventually it was going to become about Brigitte Macron. Everyone knew that. One, we knew from day one that eventually we were going to find our way back, and somehow the assassination of Charlie Kirk was going to be connected to Brigitte Macron being transgender. Nobody knew how. Nobody knew the steps we were going to take to get there or how long it would take for us to arrive, but we're there. And it has happened. So Brigitte Macron orchestrated the hit on Charlie Kirk. And 2, we knew that eventually we were going to get the mud fight. We were going to get the divas match. We were going to get the slap fight, the bitch fest. I don't mean to say that Erika's a bitch. She's probably not. But, you know, it's 2 women fighting. We knew it was going to go there. We knew she was going to attack the wife. And now it has happened. It has been gradually escalating. And if you've been paying attention to Candace's coverage, her theories, it has been expanding and widening. The conspiracy started out very early on. Of course, it was an Israel conspiracy. Israel did it. Now, the week after this happened, after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, I said, gut level, I find it hard to believe because Charlie Kirk was an Israel shill. He always was for 15 years. And he hated me because he was an Israel shill and I was an Israel truther. I said, so forgive me if I don't believe that he was martyred by Israel, his employer. I said it didn't make any sense. But that's where everybody took it immediately for obvious reasons. And then the conspiracy widened. And it widened to include maybe a dozen people that were present on the campus that day. And it then widened to include the FBI and the Trump administration. And then it widened to include France and Egypt. And then what has been happening lately is that it has been widening to include everybody that Charlie Kirk knew. And she's been going around for the past several weeks, hinting strongly and insinuating that his family killed him, that perhaps his parents, his wife, his best friends, his colleagues, that they were in on it, that they either gave permission for these 3 governments to kill Charlie Kirk, or they were complicit in the...
Yeah, she has blamed everybody but Tyler Robinson. Literally, the only person she hasn't blamed is Tyler Robinson, the actual killer.
Assassination against Charlie Kirk, but that is what she has been insinuating. And the pressure has been mounting. As you know, last week, finally, Turning Point came out, and Blake Neff, who is the architect of the Charlie Kirk podcast, he came out last week and said, we are forced now to formally respond. They said they're going to host a live stream at their studio in Phoenix. They said they're going to do it this month, and they're going to formally address all of the conspiracy theories that implicate Turning Point as an organization. Candace Owens was invited to attend the live stream. She declined. She said she was busy. She didn't say why she was busy. She said she would cover it anyway from home. Then she said, actually, I'll beg my husband to let me go and attend the live stream if Erika Kirk is there. And I don't know that we covered that aspect of it, but that's how it played out. Last Wednesday, Blake Neff announced Turning Point is going to address the allegations. We're hosting a live stream. She's invited. Candace replies and says, name the time, name the place. I'll be there. I want all the bells and whistles. Let's do it. They say, okay, we're doing it on December 15th in Phoenix. You're welcome to join us. Candace says, oh, I can't make it that day, but I can Zoom or I'll cover it live on my show. And they said, no, we're not doing a live stream debate. We're doing the stream. You can come in person. If not, that's okay. We'll do it without you. Then she comes out a few days later and says, well, if Erika Kirk is there, then I will beg my husband to let me attend, and maybe I can. Weird direction she took it in. And so this is where we get to today. I believe it was in response to this that finally Erika Kirk comes out on Fox News and addresses Candace, not by name, but indirectly. And this is what she says. This is from Mediaite. It says, quote, Erika Kirk, the CEO of Turning Point USA and widow of assassinated conservative activist.
So he's going to read this. I'm going to just play my video for you guys. You probably already saw this video. I'm going to play it, though, so that you guys can stay with what he's going to read it.
thing, we sent it to the authorities. Please dig into this. No rock will be unturned. I want justice for my husband, for myself, for my family, more than anyone else out there. So for me, you want to keep telling me to come down while we're building? I don't have time for that. But here's my breaking point on that. Come after me, call me names, I don't care. Call me what you want, go down that rabbit hole, whatever. But when you go after my family, my Turning Point USA family, my Charlie Kirk Show family, when you go after the people that I love, and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode going after the people that I love because somehow they're in on this, no.
Bullcrap.
You know, I have to say it. I've never seen you like this.
No, this is righteous anger because this is not okay. It's not healthy. This is a mind virus.
100%. It's a mind virus, and it's spreading rapidly. One person said that if you said stop, she would stop. This person said if you asked her to stop, she would stop. She said that early on. I don't think she would have stopped, but if you would have asked her to stop publicly, I think it would have went a long ways.
Yes, I believe in our judicial system. I do. We have a hell of a team working on this, excuse my French. But this is not okay.
So you want to put these people back in the box where they've been creeping from?
I don't care what box you're in. But just know that your words are very powerful, and we are human. My team are not machines, and they're not robots. They are human. We have more death threats on our team and our side than I have ever seen. I have kidnapping threats. I have, you name it, we have it. And my poor team is exhausted. And every time they bring this back up, what are we supposed to do? Relive that trauma all over again? They watched my husband get murdered. I have no idea how I would have reacted if I was there that day. And thank the good Lord that I did not have to see that happen. But my team, they are rocked to the core. So why every single day do they have to be dragged through the mud, analyzed, hyper-analyzed? But I have seen it firsthand impact the people that I love, and I'm done. I'm done. And if people think that I was just going to wilt away, I'm not going to sit in a corner and cry and be in fetal position. This is a duty to my husband, and it's an absolute honor, and I will never back down. And so my message to them is to stop. To stop.
You see that look? Right there. Look at this. It's kind of blurry, but you see that look? That's for Candace Owens right there. Stop. And she looks like you don't want to mess with her. All right, let's get back to Nick Fuentes here.
Activist Charlie Kirk erupted on Wednesday over the conspiracy theories, many of them championed by former Turning Point activist Candace Owens, proliferating about her husband's death. During a one-on-one with Harris Faulkner, in the final minutes of Wednesday's edition of Outnumbered, Faulkner ripped into those profiting off of the conspiracy theories. After Kirk implored the world to let her keep the site of her husband's grave private for the sake of her family, Faulkner asked her, "What are they taking from you right now?" She replied, "I do not have time to address the noise. My silence does not mean that I am complacent. My silence does not mean that Turning Point and all of the hand-picked staff that loved my husband and my husband loved them is somehow in on it. We are busy building, and you know what? I thought these people are human. We are all grieving in our own way, and they are trying to find the answer to something that happened that was so evil. They are trying so hard, and I get that. We're doing the same. Anytime we hear a lead or anytime we hear anything, we send it to the authorities. Please dig into this. No rock will be unturned. I want justice for my husband, myself, and my family." And she goes on, "For me, you want to keep telling me to come down while we're building. I don't have time for that, but here's my breaking point. Come after me, call me names, I don't care. Call me what you want, whatever. But when you go after my family, Turning Point USA, my Charlie Kirk Show family, when you go after the people that I love and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode, After the people that I love because they're somehow in on this? No. And she goes on and on like this. The article concludes, it says, she later finished the segment declaring that she's seen the impact that conspiracy theories have had on the people that I love. She said, and if people think I was just going to wilt away, I'm not going to sit in a corner and cry in the fetal position. This is the duty to my husband. It's an absolute honor. I will never back down. And I saw this response, and I'm going to be honest with you. It doesn't work. The response doesn't work. They're just recycling a lot of these things that they've been saying, which is everybody grieves differently. And you can attack me, but don't attack them. That's my family. They're just recycling, and you can read, there's sort of like a desperation. Fishing around in a grab bag of public relations talking points. And that's what this is. It's calculated. This is calculated. It's choreographed. Obviously, they have a big problem, and the problem's name is Candace Owens. Candace Owens is going live every day, and she is absolutely motherfucking their credibility. Every single day, she's calling Tyler Boyer a gay pedophile. She's saying Erika Kirk is a fake wife and killed her husband. She's saying everybody at Turning Point killed Charlie to cover up missing funds or something like that. She's going live every day to an audience of millions of people and saying these things. And Turning Point has no idea how to respond. And they're sort of oscillating between feigning indignation, pretending to take the high road, pretending to not be affected, but also playing the victim and for sympathy. But they can't seem to find anything that works. It looks like they're tinkering with it. And they're trying a lot of different lines. They're trying a lot of different angles, throwing a lot at the wall to see what sticks, but nothing is actually hitting the right note. And like I said, recycling and cycling through a lot of different types of appeals. Don't attack his wife. That's his wife. You can't do that. You can attack his wife, but don't attack the rest of them because they're family. Don't attack any of them because they're human. Well, everyone's just grieving in a different way. Well, and you can tell that it is, it's fake. And by fake, I don't mean that they're all liars. I mean that they're running a public relations strategy. This is damage control. They're huddling up together and they're thinking through these lines. How are we going to deal with this? And they don't have a
Greg says, Candace has gone off the deep end. They're not saying much because of the lawsuit. They can't say much. Hey, Red Hazel.
consistent approach. The approach is not focused. They actually haven't made a decision about what the approach is going to be. And so you just sort of see this panicked, sloppy, inconsistent approach. And it looks like they're just thrashing around. It looks like they're just flopping and thrashing around, and they have no idea what they're doing. They come out with this statement and they say, all right, fine, we'll address all the allegations and you can come to the studio. And she says, well, I want to Zoom. Well, that's no good. Then she comes out and she doesn't even mention Candace Owens by name. And the problem, of course, with Turning Point, full disclosure, I'll tell you my position. I don't think they killed Charlie Kirk. I don't think they're in on it. I don't think that all of Charlie Kirk's best friends and his wife stabbed him in the back like Julius Caesar. I don't think it's that deep. I think that what they are is they're a business. And
yeah, so he's 100% correct there. Like, pretty obvious they didn't kill him, and there's too much evidence against Tyler Robinson. But he's about to say something I don't agree with here, I'll tell you.
I think they are grifters. I think the Turning Point is
They're not grifters. They're running a business, and it's a good business. That's my opinion.
Will be in the future. It's a grift operation, and it is made up of a lot of different kinds of people, and certainly some of them are very suspicious. Like Jack Posobiec's a little suspicious. Blake Neff used to work for Tucker. I don't know his story. That Andrew Kolvik guy, that guy is like an Israel lobby shill. So it's made up of a lot of different like industry people, and some of them are ideologically convicted in the wrong direction, like they're pro-Israel hacks. Some of them don't believe in anything. They're just a mouthpiece. Some of them are basic bitch conservatives. But I guess the sin of Turning Point USA is a lot of them are just phony. A lot of them are just, they're calculating, cynical, political opportunists. And that's why everything they're putting out is coming across that way. Everything
They're good people. Most of them are Christians, and so to a lot of people it seems fake, but it's real.
they're putting out is coming across as very thin and cheap and insincere. And it's not working. I think that the approach that they need to adopt is they need to address it head on. At this point, what do we have to lose here? Candace has the bigger platform, actually, at this point. Her YouTube channel is massive. Her Spotify is massive. Her Twitter is massive. Everybody is watching the Candace show, for better or for worse. And when I say the Candace show, I mean that as a pejorative. It's what it is. It's a big performance.
Yeah, Peg, is it? These people will end up getting Tyler found not guilty. That's what I'm concerned about, too. That's what I'm concerned about. Hey, you can try.
Everybody's watching the Candace show, and everybody knows this is going on, and a significant portion of the population, or maybe a vocal and loud and energetic minority, is dominating the conversation. And so at this point, you need to nip it in the bud. You can't do the high road shit. You can't do the victim shit. You can't do it in a way where the approach is inconsistent. You need to stand up and face this head on. And you need to go on the offensive. They've been First of all, they weren't even playing for 2 months at all. They weren't defending themselves. They weren't saying anything. Then they came out on the defensive, and they were doing this thing where they weren't naming anybody by name, and they weren't addressing anything directly. They were sort of making these references to it and pretending it didn't exist and pretending they weren't bothered by it,
Yeah, I agree here. 100%. They took too long to start addressing Candace Owens. They really just need to call her out by name and be like, she's full of it. She's making things worse. And that's what they need to do. And they need to call her out. And they should have done it from the beginning.
to take the high road. And even now, they're on defense. She comes out and says, oh, we're human beings. We're being attacked. This is so sad. I'm just trying to build. And everyone knows that's bullshit. You've got a huge Candace Owens problem. And it's a problem for you, your credibility, your organization, your operations, your fundraising. You cannot go on. You cannot act as though everything is okay and everything is normal as long as this is happening. And when you go on the show and you won't say her name, I understand the thought process behind that. But when you go on the show and you pretend to take the high road and say that you're just worried about moving forward, no one buys that, because everyone knows this is a problem, and everyone knows you know it's a problem, and everyone knows.
Yeah, you can try. They got the right guy. He has SSRI eyes. It's a fact.
That you wouldn't be acting like this if you didn't know it was a problem. It's a tacit acknowledgement that this is a problem. So in my opinion, you got to put down the handkerchief. You got to stop with, and I know this is going to sound callous, but this is politics. And politics is ruthless. And people might find this to be extremely outrageous. I think the whole thing is very dark and very outrageous, but this is politics. And in politics and in the media, it isn't about acting in good faith. It isn't about who is the purest of heart or who has the purest of intentions or even who is the most honest. Because if you can't defend yourself, if you're not fighting and making your case in the public square, if you're not winning, then the rest of it doesn't matter because the perception is what rules the day. So even if Erika and Turning Point are innocent, and even if they genuinely are taking the high road, and even if they're in the right, even if they're right to be aggrieved, none of that matters. If Candace is dominating the conversation, if the perception is that they're hiding something or whatever, you have to be ruthless. You have to win. You have to fight. You have to make the case. And so I look at Erika and I look at the crew, and you could just say this objectively. And you know me, I'm anti-Candace at this point. I think she is a horrible, disgusting human being. I think what she is doing is wicked and selfish and reckless, and I think it's setting us back 5 years, and I think she's a complete idiot, and I think she's wrong. That being said, as an objective outside observer, as somebody that is not directly involved in this, Turning Point is getting their asses kicked.
So yeah, she is a major grifter. It seems to be all about the money. You got to hand it to her though. She's the most popular show going right now. So she is banking some serious money.
Performance is poor and they are losing. And I don't even know that I want them to win, but I definitely think that Candace needs to be taken down a peg. So I say that as somebody that's in a way sort of rooting for them, in at least on some level rooting for them to defeat some of the allegations. So anyway, so I saw this from Erika Kirk. She comes out crying. And then I see a video from Candace Owens. I don't know how you look at this person and are not filled with disgust, especially as a man. If you're a woman, I get it. I think that women are easily manipulated. And I think that women tend to be suckers for things like this. I don't understand how any man could look at that Instagram video she posted and not be overwhelmed with disgust. She goes live on Instagram or on her story and she goes, yeah, it's about me. They don't say it's about me, but it's about me and it's all about me and it's me, me, me. And she's giddy. She is lit up like one of these Christmas trees. She's lit up. Her expression is bright. They're talking about me, 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 me. It's all about me. She goes, and I'm going to go live and I'm going to talk about what they said about me. You can read it on her face. She literally could not be happier. She is elated.
Nay says his heart breaks for Charlie's mom and dad. I feel they have been forgotten about. I feel they have been forgotten about. They raised a wonderful man, and their son was taken in such an awful way. Totally agree, Nay.
It is orgasmic. It is orgiastic exuberance that she was directly attacked by Erika Kirk. And you want to know why? Because she knew that when she went live today, everybody was going to be watching to see the counter. Because that's what this is now. That's what this is. It is a soap opera. It is a big soap opera. It is a serial. It is a true crime series where the investigators are now the main characters. That's what this is. And it is a tit for tat every day. Oh, this changes everything. This is going to blow the lid on the conspiracy. Oh, Turning Point responded. Here we go. Now I got to say something. And you look at the thumbnail. The thumbnail of the video, it's Erika off to the side and Candace is looking at her. Oh, well, so smug, so giddy, gleeful. And there's a word for this. It's called narcissistic supply. narcissistic supply. It doesn't matter what kind of attention it is, positive, negative, it is.
Yeah, Greg, who gave out those green names? I wonder, who could it have been?
A black hole of female narcissism. She is elated that she gets to once again redirect everything about this conversation to being about her and her crusade and how she's the only one who's doing this because she's the only one with integrity. She's the only one that isn't two-faced in politics. She's the only one. She is the chosen one. That's the narrative now. I watched her show last week. She's talking about her time with Charlie and how they used to laugh and have fun. She goes, and we didn't understand politics. She goes, I don't understand politics. I don't understand being two-faced and dishonest. You know, I'm not like that. And it's like, do you hear yourself? Every show, it's like, I'm just the best. I'm a good person. I, me, mine. I, me, mine. It's all me. So she does her show, and Candace responds to Erika Kirk, and she jumps in, and Candace rips Erika Kirk to pieces. And honestly, she said a lot of, I don't know if she stole my talking points, but she did say a lot of things about Erika Kirk that are true. She said, you know, here's the thing. Erika is not a grieving widow, or she's not just a grieving widow. Candace says she's also the chairman of Turning Point USA. She said, and when your organization is being attacked, you can't weaponize the compassion or sympathy over your dead husband for your entire portfolio of companies now. Your husband got shot and killed. You're obviously grieving as the widow, but now you've stepped up as the chairman of a multi-million-dollar group. It's an umbrella group. There's many properties. And what, now we can't critique or attack those things because you're a widow? She goes, that doesn't work. Now, here's what I have to say about that. While that is true, and that's something that I said, because I said something similar about Erika Kirk. I said, we don't really know who she is. She's being asked if she'll endorse J.D. Vance. I don't know what her endorsement means. We don't know who she is. So what I said at the beginning of this whole saga is that I'm sort of skeptical of her. I don't know who she is. And it seems like they're grooming her to be a political figure. I said, and that warrants scrutiny. She doesn't deserve scrutiny because of how she grieves or whether she cries or whether she carries the handkerchief. She deserves scrutiny if she's going to be elevated to become now a national political figure, which it seems like she is. There are these choreographed, orchestrated breakout moments that she's being given, and that's where it seems like it's going. But here's the difference. What Candace Owens is doing day in and day out, week after week, is she is directly attacking everybody with no evidence. She said that Tyler Boyer is a gay pedophile with no evidence, no receipts.
And I have the best mods, Ginger, Nay, a couple others. I have the best mods. Thank you so much, Ginger and Nay.
No names, no text messages, nothing. And she's saying the same about Turning Point. She's saying Turning Point killed their best friend because they failed an audit. There's no evidence. There's no proof. There's no proof of any of that. Because Charlie launched an initiative, a Doge-style initiative to audit where they can make the organization more efficient, she extrapolated that into there's some sort of money laundering scheme. And so Charlie was killed to cover it up. It's like, this is the kind of stuff that she's saying every day. And with no evidence. Erika Kirk comes out and says, you know, this is really irresponsible. You're attacking these people. They're human beings. That's not cool. And then what Candace responds to this, she says, well, you're telling me I can't criticize you? And there's like a very subtle bait and switch. And this is why I think conspiracy theories are done. I really believe that I'm very bearish now on conspiracy theories because of this.
I hope he's right. Right here, I'm going to rewind it 15 seconds. Nick says that conspiracy theories are done. I am so sick and tired of conspiracy theories, man. Here, let's rewind it 15 seconds.
And there's like a very subtle bait and switch. And this is why I think conspiracy theories are done. I really believe that I'm very bearish now on conspiracy theories because of this. Candace Owens is single-handedly setting conspiracy theories back 2 or 3 years, 5 years. And I'll tell you why. She is doing a very dishonest bait and switch where she goes on her show and every day attacks private people. Some public people, some private people, and she does it with little or no evidence. And those people then want to sue her for defamation, or those people forcefully respond and they say, this is really irresponsible. This is not true. This is hurtful. This is reckless. This is divisive. And then she comes on the show the next day and says, they are telling us that we can't ask questions. And those are very different things. I'm sorry, who is saying that we can't ask questions? Nobody is saying that. As a matter of fact, they're saying the opposite. The FBI director, Kash Patel, actually came out and literally addressed all the questions. He said, I hear you, and I'm not defending him. I think he's an idiot and he botched the whole investigation and he should be fired. But on the claim that, no, they're telling us we can't ask questions, who has said that and when did they say it? When did anyone say that? Let me tell you what has been said about this. One of the prosecutors, one of the U.S. attorneys, or I forget, maybe it was law enforcement, came out shortly after the assassination and he said in a press conference, he said, I know you have a lot of questions. He said, but my job is to protect the Fifth and Sixth Amendment rights of the defendant. And what are those rights? A right to a fair trial with a jury of your peers. He said, I know you have questions. He said, I can't give you all the information because the defendant has rights also. Someone has been charged. Someone is in custody. That person has rights to a fair trial. To achieve a fair trial, they need an untainted jury pool. That means they need to find a dozen people in the state of Utah that don't believe that Tyler is guilty or that don't believe that it's some grand conspiracy. They need an untainted jury pool. So what the state actually said is, your questions are valid. I am constrained by the Constitution. Unfortunately, I cannot answer them.
An interview with Candace Owens. I think she would tear me apart. That girl is something else. She is a fireball. She's really smart, but you know, I think she'd tear me apart. She's crazy now, though.
No one said you can't ask questions. Kash Patel in
To be fair, I really liked Candace Owens. I listened to her all the time until she went off the deep end with this Charlie Kirk murder. I used to listen to her all the time.
fairness, put out on Twitter, he said, I know there are questions about the bullet trajectory, about a second shooter, about these visual artifacts, about blah, blah, blah. He listed all those things. He said, and rest assured, we're going to investigate them. Now, whether you think he means what he says or not, that's up to you to decide. Like I said, I don't like Kash Patel. I'm not defending him. I think he botched this. He obviously has done a terrible job. But at no point did Kash Patel say, you can't ask questions, and neither did Turning Point. Blake Neff went live last Wednesday and said, we're going to address everything like this. He gave specific examples. He said, we're going to address everything formally next week. So at no point has anybody said, you can't ask questions. And no one's even in a position to enforce that anyway. What people are saying is you need to be more responsible with the information that you put out. That's the problem. And this is the central issue with all of it. This is where it becomes irrational and cult-like. It's this sort of Mott and Bailey. This woman will go on her show every day and she'll just say the most ridiculous shit with no evidence. It doesn't even make sense. She comes out on her show and says, Charlie Kirk told me in a dream that he was betrayed. And people like myself will take that, okay, you said it on your show, and you're literally using that as evidence. She came out and said, I have visions of beekeepers and Charlie, and I have dreams, and I pulled my kids out of school because of it.
He's 100% true. She said all this crap. She literally, everything is evidence. So somebody recorded Tyler Robinson walking in front of their house on their security camera. And she investigated the house, the people that lived at that house. And because there was several houses in the area that were into valves, like their company had something to do with valves, she thought that was part of this conspiracy. You can't make this stuff up.
She thinks her dreams contain information that is relevant to the investigation. Her dreams that take place in an atemporal space inside of her mind. And a serious person will take that and say, that's not evidence. That's ridiculous. And then they will reply and say, well, what? We can't ask questions? So you're defending the FBI? Every single time, every time. Because I've covered this off and on for like 3 months.
All right, so Ginger said, could there be some organization behind Charlie's assassination, but Tyler was 100% involved and should be equally guilty of his murder? Ginger, it's possible. It's not likely because of how simple what Tyler did was very simple. The shot that he made was only about 150 yards. When I went deer hunting, I could make that shot with only 3 practice shots before the season started. I would go out and make a shot like that. It's really simple. Any of my kids could make that shot. My wife could make that shot. It's a simple shot. I didn't see anything difficult about what Tyler did. So it's just a conspiracy theory, but it is possible. I'm not going to say it's impossible.
They'll put something out, for example, like the palm pistol. Remember that? Remember they said there was a palm pistol? He was shot from behind? Remember that, or did everybody forget? For like 2 months, they said Charlie was shot from behind. He was shot from the side. He was shot with a palm pistol, or he was shot from a different angle. That wasn't true. Candace said that she saw the record, and it said that indeed, the wound we saw was an entry wound, not an exit wound. So that eliminates the possibility of a palm pistol or a shooter situated on the staircase behind. But that didn't matter. They just moved on. But if you had said, yeah, no, there's no such thing as a palm pistol. No, he definitely got shot from the front. They would tell you, oh, well, you're carrying water for the FBI. Oh, well, you're telling us we can't ask questions. And this is what you call a Mott and Bailey. They make these arguments in the front, which is there's beekeepers and dreams and maroon shirts and Egyptian planes and Brigitte Macron. And if you attack any of that, they will retreat to the fortress and say, well, we're just saying something's off. All we're saying is this. No, that's not all you're saying. You're saying new crazy shit every single day. You're saying lots of things. And half of it isn't true at all on its face. None of it has evidence. Some of it's speculative, some of it is partial. But you're saying these things every single day with apparently no discernment. The information and the sources are not being vetted. A lot of the times, like I said, it doesn't even make sense. But they flood the zone with all this bullshit. You attack any of it and they retreat to, well, hey, we're just asking questions. All we're saying is something is off. But that's not all they're saying. They're saying that too many people had maroon shirts on in the audience for that to be a coincidence. And maroon is military.
Yeah, Ginger, I knew what you were referring to there. There's a tiny chance. I would give it about a 0.5% chance that some secret organization indoctrinated Tyler. Also, the shooter that tried to kill Trump. Actually, the shooter that tried to kill Trump actually does have some weird things in his phone and his online presence that make that chance a little higher with that guy. But it's possible. I'm not going to say it's impossible.
So those people were military operatives, and they were there coordinating the hit. That's what you're saying. What you're saying is you were told information in a dream that's relevant to the investigation. What you're saying is that the French government tried to kill you, and the Ukrainians are trying to kill you, and that's what you're saying. And if anybody scrutinizes those wild claims and asks whether there's evidence to back it up, asks what the theory is that unites these things, then they retreat to, well, all we're saying is something's off. If that's all you were saying, no one would have a problem, and we could debate that.
So, Antifa furries, just other Antifa furries. There is a conspiracy. So Tyler Robinson was on Discord with a bunch of other furries. I do believe that there's a pretty good chance that a lot of these furry Antifa types, they knew about this plan of Tyler's. So that's one thing I can't wait to see come out. And who else was there? Was something else. Anyway, we'll keep playing. There was something else I wanted to mention, but
all you're saying is that. If all you're saying is we should be allowed to ask questions, no one would disagree. Where people disagree is all the nonsense about planes and Egypt and France and Ukraine and every other thing that has been included in this. That's the issue. And it's pernicious. I think this is actually sinister. I saw Tucker Carlson weigh in. He uploaded a 5-minute video. And he said, well, I just love everybody involved. He said, I love Erika and I love Candace and I love Turning Point. I love Blake Neff and I love all these people. He goes, I'll never criticize someone that's asking questions. What is the FBI doing? And honestly, that's just cowardice. That is either a criminal level of cynicism, of disregard for the truth, or that is just cowardice. I'm getting really sick of that whole shtick. I watched his 5-minute video and it's...
Hey, thank you, Nave. Thank you, Nave, for the 5 gift memberships. Appreciate it, man.
It's like, the FBI is supposed to tell us what's going on. We have every right to believe that the FBI is lying. Really? So we must assume the FBI is lying, but what editorial standard is there for anybody else? Does Candace Owens have an editorial standard? Or can she say literally anything and everything, no matter how false, no matter how reckless, whether there's evidence for it or not? And if she gets it wrong, I guess that doesn't matter. It doesn't count against her, doesn't hurt her credibility. If she's accusing innocent people, that doesn't matter. She's not accountable for that either. I'm getting really tired of this like Mr. Smith goes to Washington shtick from Tucker. Let's just say something about Tucker. All of Tucker's friends are in the CIA, okay? His dad ran Voice of America. His best friend, Joe Kent, is a CIA officer. His best friend, J.D. Vance, got $15 million from Peter Thiel, a CIA contractor. Tucker is in favor of Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel is a CIA contractor. Tucker is constantly talking about his friends in the administration, his friends in the CIA, his friends that are in the Pentagon. He's constantly traveling to other countries, meeting with high-level government officials. He's in Saudi Arabia, meeting with the Saudi crown prince. He's in the Emirates, meeting with the crown prince. He's in Qatar. He said, I bought a house in Qatar because I'm an American and you can't tell.
Okay, so E. Todd says she started losing it after she interviewed Jeezy a few times. That's a conspiracy theory I've had for a while. Jeezy, isn't that Kanye West? Somebody answer me in the chat. I think Kanye West has influenced Candace and Tucker, and actually Nick Fuentes as well. They're all big fans of Kanye West. That's my own conspiracy theory.
Tell me where I can travel and where I can buy a house. He goes, because I'm an American. Yeah, everybody knows that's American as apple pie. Everybody knows that what it means to be an American is nobody can tell you that you can't fly to the Doha Forum and buy a house in Qatar, in the Trucial States. Do you hear yourself? I'm so sick of this Mr. Smith goes to Washington shtick like he's some hapless tourist.
Yeah, so instead of going to Charlie's funeral, she went to a Kanye West concert or something like that. That was a big red flag for me. Also, Kanye has had a thing against Jews for quite a while. And so then Candace comes out against the Jews, and Tucker comes out against the Jews, and then Nick Fuentes comes out against the Jews, and Nick Fuentes loves Kanye West. It's just all, a bunch of weird influences, or he's paying them. Kanye West is worth like $1 billion, so it wouldn't shock me. It's just a conspiracy theory, guys.
And he's constantly insulting our intelligence with all these little quips where he says, oh, I'm too cheap to buy new clothes. You're too cheap to buy new clothes. What are you worth, $50 million? He's acting like he shops at Marshall's, like he shops at JCPenney. Oh, I'm too cheap to buy clothes. Oh, you're worth $50 million. What are you talking about? He goes to Turning Point. He goes to Turning Point USA and brings his dog onto the stage. Now, if he went to the podium and said, oh, I brought my dog, I thought you'd want to meet him, I'd say, sure, I want to see his dog. His dog's cute. But he didn't say that. He got to the podium and said, my wife is out of town. I got stuck with the dog. I had to bring him here. I didn't know what to do with him. You flew there on a private jet and you brought the dog with you. You're worth $50 million. You couldn't have someone else watch the dog? You have a staff of a half dozen people. You couldn't leave the dog with the staff? You couldn't leave the dog behind the stage? Are you kidding me? No, I'm crazy. Tucker is just a down-to-earth bro who wears flip-flops and likes nicotine. And he doesn't even own a TV because that's how chill he is. And he just likes to hunt, and he doesn't like to buy clothes because he's cheap. And, when he buys a house in Qatar, when he's at the Doha Forum interviewing the Crown Prince, that's just because he's like a fucking American, damn it. And then he goes on these little soliloquies, these little monologues where he goes, we want the FBI to tell us what's going on. And don't get me wrong, I agree with that. But what's with like this feigned ignorance of the whole situation? He goes in there, well, the FBI needs to tell us. Why don't you weigh in? Are you going to give an opinion on this, or are you just going to recuse yourself from it forever? I don't like these like calculated games that he's playing. So anyway, I saw that and I was like, dude, this guy's cooked. I don't know what is going on with him and Candace Owens, but it has become clear these people are now detrimental. I think they are both liars of a different variety. And I think that they are both detrimental. And by the way, I don't know what's going on with them in all these foreign countries. Tucker is saying Russia's our closest ally, and I'm buying a house in Qatar. And Candace Owens is like obsessed with France. Her husband is from the United Kingdom. I don't like all this stuff with foreign countries. Something's not right there. Something is not passing the smell test there. You know, I don't know what's up with that.
Okay, guys, this was just about 45 minutes of Nick Fuentes' live stream last night. We're going to jump over here real quick and get Candace's reaction. This is from Candace's live today. I thought this might be interesting.
Okay, I will be very honest. I am in a bit of a mood today. I am just annoyed with everybody. I'm annoyed with this entire psychological operation that is so obvious. And I just feel like we keep going round and round in a circle with the government. You know, whether it's COVID, the Ukraine war, it's like the entire media apparatus and establishment is joining hands to condemn people for having common sense. So I'll ask you a question to begin this. Do you feel, show of hands, okay, that the answer regarding who killed Charlie Kirk and what happened on September 10th is quote unquote very clear? Objectively. Like,
it's very, very clear. Tyler Robinson killed him. They have all the evidence. It's on video. It's literally on video of him running away with the gun. It's very clear, Candace.
even if you are somebody who is on the side of those who do believe that Tyler Robinson pulled the trigger one way or another, would you ever describe what happened as quote unquote very clear? I'm guessing your answer to that would be no. I am asking you that because Erika Kirk believes it to be so. And I guess this is kind of the final stop. I'm hoping it's the final stop of this PR campaign where they are now pivoting and bringing Erika out to signal to the public that we can't question her judgment, right? Because she's a widow, we can't question her judgment. And I want to say that I reject that. I reject emotional manipulation. I want to give people at home the permission to avoid a trap of thinking that you have to arrive at the same conclusions as Erika Kirk, especially when the story that we have been presented thus far makes little sense, if any sense. It makes, I think, virtually no sense. To that end, later on in the show, we will discuss Tyler Robinson, who has now made his first in-person appearance in court.
Heather, our cave girl was telling me about Ginger's comment. Candace is reacting. Reacting.
And I guess the good news there is that we know he exists. Welcome back to Candace. Saying that it is badly run because it's recognizable. A good PR campaign is not recognizable. A bad PR campaign is an obvious one. And I am going to request respectfully, I know it's not going to be honored, I'm going to respectfully request that all of these Agent Smiths in this obvious matrix just stop, okay? This PR campaign, it's been nonstop since Charlie was shot. It was honestly dead on arrival, okay? We do not trust this. We do not believe this. And yet we are wildly kind of in this position where they're testing to see how many times they can say the same thing before they convince everybody else at home that it's true, okay? Their equation that they seem to be running, if it's that formula, is talking points multiplied by 10,000 talking heads must equal results. Okay? They believe that with enough of an echo, they can override basic human instinct, basic intellect, really. There is, I would like to be very clear, nothing that feels right to me about the Charlie Kirk assassination, and especially the way that some of his employees and friends have been behaving since that assassination. And I'll preface this with, I am very sorry if that offends you, Erika. Genuinely, I am sorry that there is no amount of increase in pressure and propaganda and headlines written about me that are going to convince me. And by the way, I'm just the conduit, right? You're attacking me, but you're angry that also the masses have not accepted this. There's not a number that is going to convince the masses that his human neck, stopped a 30-06 bullet. Okay, and not even just stop the bullet. I also want to be clear here. It's not just that they're saying that it ricocheted and it stopped, and this would maybe be the first time in human history.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe she wanted to be Candace Kirk, Ginger said. Maybe she wanted to be Candace Kirk.
History. And please, if you do know a story, you've got an old article, I don't care where it's from, if you saved a newspaper article from the early 1900s in your family of an example, I don't think that bullet existed then, but like of a 30-06 being stopped by a human neck, please present it. I'd like to show that it is possible, right? It is actually, this happened one time down in Texas. It's possible. But not only are they saying that they stopped it, but I want to remind you that there was minimal damage to the front of Charlie's neck as well, okay? There was minimal damage to the front of Charlie's neck as well.
Okay, so when a bullet goes in, it makes a very small hole. That's why there is minimal damage to the front of Charlie's neck. Very common knowledge amongst hunters and shooters and forensics.
So it didn't even cause a lot of, damage as it went in. It just cleanly went in and then ricocheted downward into his stomach. I'm frustrated, obviously, for a lot of reasons, but Erika's, that's now being teased, the interview with Barry Weiss, it's being termed a town hall. And Barry is obviously just a Tel Aviv agent. Her entire background story, her rise, her studying in Tel Aviv, her family ties, the hand of Midas pulling her through the ranks a la Jeffrey Epstein. Despite her sub-average intelligence, she's not interesting. She somehow becomes a chief over at CBS News. Right? This actually, what I'm saying about Barry Weiss, this gets into Tucker's quote-unquote problematic speech at SAS when he jumped on stage and basically asked that question, how are all of these subpar people becoming billionaires? The rest of us have to work forever. They're not interesting. They're not talented. And they just seemingly are just getting all of this money and opportunities offered to them. This is clearly not a meritocracy that we're living under. It feels more like, and I'm saying this, more like a cartel. Okay, Barry Weiss is actually one of the people that we should study when it comes to being unimpressive and just getting handouts anyways. It's like welfare. I feel like she's on welfare. Like we all have to work and she gets promoted. And she's going to be unimpressive in this clip because that's her deal.
Yes, you can try. Exactly. A hollow point even will leave a small entry, but a large exit as well. So the entry is normally going to be pretty small.
Default, she can't even convincingly ask the prepared, loaded question that she is going to deliver to Erika. And this question, like I said, has likely, by the way, been reviewed and marked up by lawyers, but she still is not even convincing, despite having it ahead of time in this delivery. Take a listen.
The podcaster Candace Owens, okay? At one time, a friend of Charlie's, at one time, an employee of Turning Point, She has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies, and she is making a huge amount of money on it. She is building her business off of these lies. What do you want to say to her and the other people that are putting these lies out into the world right now?
Stop.
Look at those eyes. Stop, she said. She says stop. She has got some eyes, man. She could probably be like a villain or something on a Disney movie, but I'm not saying that about her, but she's just got those eyes. Like, you don't want to mess with her.
That's it. That's all I have to say. Stop.
So this is just, to me, I'm going to also let you know, they pre-recorded this. Obviously, I told you this yesterday from about 11 o'clock to 4 p.m. I have sources just everywhere, CBS News. The people that were in the audience I showed you were emailing me, and they had to do multiple takes because Barry wanted to read a prompter. These questions were pre-submitted, okay? And I would like to respond to this loaded question. What would you like to say? The podcaster Candace Owens, and I'm not even going to address this repeat talking point about people making money, except for the people that have actually made off of all of the money, millions upon millions of dollars. But this is the new thing. It's like, if you keep doing what you were already doing in podcasting, or keep doing what you were already doing and doing ballistics on YouTube, if you catch a bunch of views, they want to convince you that, like, you wake up and you turn into a millionaire. Building her business. What are you talking about? I already had this business. I was already at the top of the charts. Okay, I said I wasn't going to talk about it. I actually did, because it's so ridiculous, okay? But she says, I'm lying. And Erika responds, and her answer to what do you want to say to the podcaster Candace Owens who is lying is stop. So Erika would like me to stop lying. And I would like to honor that, okay? I can only honor that if Erika is more explicit in terms of what I have lied about. What did I lie about? It's just incredible. There's
I don't have all day, but I could spend all day on the lies. Even if they're not lies, they're still on untruths that you thought were facts, and you keep spewing them out.
there have this opportunity. The questions have been before. You could just start like going through them. Maybe they will. By the way, it's coming on Saturday. Maybe I've made a mistake somewhere and I'm happy. I want to correct that, right? I'm not interested. My goal is not to tell lies. It is obviously plausible that I have made mistakes. I've reviewed these lists that we've put together and I can't find the lie, okay? The lies that I find are coming out of Turning Point USA. Okay, and here are some of those lies. You know, Mikey had blood all over him. Okay, Mikey has offered that his dad was confused. I'll accept that. Well, I didn't lie about that. Rob McCoy lied. His father also said he called his father first. Maybe Rob McCoy was confused. Mikey being a hero for walking away doesn't feel honest. Charlie's neck stopping a .30-06 bullet because he ate healthy and had strong bones. It was a modern day Christian.
Here, I will talk about that .30-06 bullet. There's 2 or 3 theories on the .30-06 bullet. One is that the ammo was very, very old, so it would be underpowered. It wouldn't, and then if it hits the spine at a downward angle, and seeing how Tyler Robinson was on a roof, we definitely have a downward angle, and it hit the spine, it wouldn't exit if it was underpowered. Also, if it was a loaded round or a practice round, it would be underpowered and therefore not go all the way through. There's other explanations as well.
Miracle, that feels like a pretty big lie. Okay. Charlie never wavered in his support for Israel was a nasty lie. Maybe Barry want to prep. Like, what do you want to say to the people that literally lied about what Charlie was living through in the last weeks of his life? Stop, Josh Hammer. Stop, Bibi Netanyahu. No, I'm sorry. Barry Weiss is here. We're not going to get to that. Charlie was a committed evangelical who only liked Catholic architecture. Did I lie about that? Nope. Turning Point USA lied about that. And I was attacked for telling me. I'm attacked for catching the lies. We'll get to that later. That's their new method. Once first they accuse me of lying, then I prove I'm not lying, and then their strategy is to attack me for telling the truth and saying, how dare you reveal a personal text message to defend yourself from being called a liar. We can keep going here. Has any of this been clarified? Ben Shapiro said they never had any bad blood between them. I proved that was not true.
Yeah, you can try. He says, these people have never shot nothing. He says, I have seen some weird bullet stuff happen. Yep, bullets do some crazy things, and there are literally hundreds of different types of 30-06 bullets and designed to do all kinds of different things.
Again, that also came from a little PR, Alex Clark pulling that move. Next page, Terrell Farnsworth was told to remove that SD card by police. That was not true. Terrell Farnsworth personally told me that was not true. Terrell removed the SD cards because people were stealing hats. Again, not what Terrell Farnsworth himself told me. And also doesn't make any logical sense, because if you were worried about theft, you would have taken the cameras and not just the SD card, particularly from the camera behind his head, as opposed to the cameras that were in front of him. Lie. Charlie established a Doge and it was not unusual. That's a lie. It was unusual. Doge didn't even exist prior to Elon Musk making that a thing about government accountability. Charlie Kirk's team did not fly drones. Major lie. Brian Harpole told that lie. Brian Harpole also told a major lie when he said that the security had communicated with UVU police to secure those rooftops. That was a lie. It was actually the walkway behind. What am I getting here? What have I done here in this presentation that I lied about? Have I made mistakes along the way? Yes, I'm not perfect, and I will always adjust those mistakes. So I'm asking you to tell me what I lied about. Why is there not this same energy also for the feds? Because they've told some lies. We've got a list of those too. We put that together. We would like some clarity. Again, Charlie being shot with a 30-06. The lover text messages mysteriously presented without any timestamps, lying about how Tyler Robinson was arrested. They claim that he confessed and turned himself in. That's not what happened. That he said he was guilty. All of his, father said he was guilty. That's not what happened. Never revealed that Tyler Robinson was at the Dairy Queen following the assassination.
Okay, real quick point. Why does Candace think that law enforcement or the FBI are required to release every bit of information when they're doing their investigation? Why does she think that they are duty bound to release everything to us? I wish they would, but that's just not how investigations work. They don't tell everybody everything.
He was throwing clothes away, as I presented to you guys, in the cemetery. That's problematic to the timeline. We'd like some clarity. That's an oddity. They said Tyler Robinson was arrested wearing a maroon shirt. That actually was also not true. They said Tyler Robinson was suicidal, but also turned himself in because he was afraid of being shot by police. Those two ideas seem to be running into each other. How can both of these things be true? Did he want to die or not want to die? Maybe there's an explanation. It's definitely odd. And the footage mysteriously missing of Tyler Robinson turning himself in. And then, of course, there's just like things that we can't get answers to, which is the Egyptian planes, tracking Charlie, following Erika throughout years. Instead, they're laughing at these things. So what am I lying about? Explicitly lying about. Not made a molecular or a minor mistake. We got a time zone wrong. And then it's like, she lied. The plane left a couple of hours earlier. Maybe somewhere I made a mistake on a timeline of Charlie being here on this day when he's actually there on that day. But I'm talking like, where am I lying? Because I would like to stop if you can tell me. Okay? And maybe they will. Maybe we'll get to that on Saturday. And by the way, to be clear, I am also telling the truth. It is not my opinion that these questions were pre-selected. It's a fact. It's a fact. Like I said, we have insiders. The questions were pre-selected. And one of the pre-selected questions was for Erika, and this will come out on Saturday, setting the stage for her to condemn anti-Semitism, to which she responds and speaks about, as I told you yesterday, how Turning Point will be hosting a Shabbat dinner. And in case the direction of travel for CBS under the stewardship of Barry Weiss is not clear. They even brought in during this town hall the father of the young woman who was shot in DC at the Jewish Museum. I think that was an IDF soldier. I might be wrong about that. They also brought out Hunter Kozak, who asked the last question to Charlie Kirk. They filled the audience with people selected by CBS, college Republicans, with questions selected by CBS. So it just is objectively a controlled and a managed situation, a controlled and a managed conversation, if you will. But, and you can predict this, if you are at home this Saturday and you watch this and you're just, a regular old person around the world and you go, this feels really scripted. The influencers are going to come out and they're going to mark you as evil, demonic even. How dare you? Question, what? Are you kidding me? This is like, you're not allowed to say that this feels scripted ever, even though this entire thing since September 10th feels scripted to me. But that's not it. Okay, we're going to get more because Erika also sat down with Glenn Beck of Blaze TV. Now, again, this is all a part of a PR blitz for Charlie's upcoming book on honoring the Shabbat, which I'm not going to be doing because I'm Christian. So I'd like to already just say no. Okay. Anyways, Glenn Beck's interview has a bunch of high points, if you will. Foremost, Erika stressing that she believes that the truth is clear. Take a listen.
I don't know how you handle this, Eric. I don't know how to be dragged into, you were involved in the death and all this crazy, evil stuff.
No, it's sick.
God bless you.
It's sick.
God bless you. It is.
My family means everything to me. Turning Point USA has always been in our life and has always been so good to Charlie, and Charlie was good to his team. Everyone loved Charlie.
Yeah.
I get that. Everyone wants an answer to this evil. And sometimes the answer is very clear.
Yeah.
The truth is very clear.
So I just want to say to, first and foremost, Glenn setting that question up, I can't find to this day, because this just feels to me to be like the ultimate straw man, any commentator that has explicitly accused Erika of killing Charlie Kirk. I've seen psychological manipulation of influencers trying to say that if you critique Turning Point, that's akin to accusing Charlie Kirk of Erika Kirk of killing her husband, which is utterly ridiculous. But I have never seen, and maybe I missed it, I've seen a lot, somebody come out and say Erika Kirk murdered Charlie. But that's what they set up always, which is like, I don't know how you are. I've seen people digging into her background. I've seen people speaking about her Romanian charity. I've seen people looking into her mother, all of that. I've seen all of that, but I have not yet seen where this idea that they keep trying to seed into our minds that asking any questions is it's equivalent to accusing her of murder. That even that feels manipulative to me. Then comes in this totally organic question from Glenn Beck. Totally organic, right? And this is going to be the extreme appeal to authority, which is, okay, if we don't want to answer any questions, we're just going to say you don't understand how the court works. You shouldn't.
Trudy said, "Thank you, Freedom, for explaining everything so well. I was believing the palm pistol theory." Yeah, a lot of people. It's a lot of people believe that stuff. And Candace, to her credit, is really good at convincing people what she's saying is the truth. So, I mean, it's no big deal. I mean, we all fall into conspiracy theories. Like I said earlier, I think Kanye West might be involved in Candace and Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson's animosity towards the Jews. I think he's involved. But that's just a conspiracy theory, so I'm sure I'm wrong.
Be asking questions because that could potentially ruin the upcoming trial. Take a listen.
You concerned about his assassin is in court today? Are you concerned about being able to have a jury that's not been tainted?
No, it's a real thing, Glenn, and you get this. A lot of people don't, and I think that we need to do a better job of educating our citizens about our court systems. A lot of people don't know how an actual trial plays out. I am very curious about how the United Healthcare case plays out. We are living in a day and age where social media can absolutely impact. I feel it can. The reason I say that is because I don't want a tainted jury pool. I want justice for my husband. Anytime we have leads, anytime we hear anything, we send it to the authorities. We're not messing around. None of us are involved in my husband's murder. None of us. Turning Point USA, myself, any of these other crazy accusations, none of us.
Okay, so this is what I mean, where I just feel like we're just doing the same thing over and over and over again in politics, where you can just apply any situation. Like it's how it starts. It's like they come up with a narrative and it feels really stupid. You could like apply this to COVID, whatever. And then people start asking questions because it feels really stupid. And then they tell you like, oh, I wish you guys were more educated about science. I wish you guys were more educated about doctors and nurses, and like, you're just not there. I wish we could explain to you how these things work, but you're going to have to trust the experts. And yeah, I actually think that also because you guys are not trusting the experts, we're going to have to censor people on social media, as they did during COVID, because social media is problematic. Actually, the problem is free speech, ultimately, right? Like the problem is that you have people on social media who are talking common sense and they don't understand this.
Sweet Southern Gal says, wonder when she's going to figure out which one of her culprits killed Charlie. Maybe Candace unalived him. She's the one accusing everybody under the sun. That destroys her credibility. I will say this about that. She has profited the most since his death. 100%. She's 10 times bigger than she was before his death. And ever since his death, she's done nothing but bankroll it.
Okay, that's like, that doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me, and it shouldn't work for you. And this next portion is where we get into the mass formation psychosis element, which is when they're trying to modify our behavior, the behavior of the masses, and they kind of want us to all form around this idea. And this is kind of actually we're all in this together psychology that you're about to see, right? The higher calling element of the psychological conditioning. You guys are focusing on the minutia of that day and whether or not the government is involved with assassinating Charlie Kirk. But, Tim Pool's telling you guys there's midterms and there's things, that's the higher calling, right? The masses should get around that higher calling. Like, even if it goes against your gut to mask your toddler, even if it goes against your gut to let your grandma die alone in a hospital, even if something is screaming at you and you're saying, why does this all feel abusive? Like abusive to toddlers, abusive to our grandparents, let them die alone. Why does it feel to me, my instinct tells me that we shouldn't put medical masks on on toddlers who can't see expressions? Well, the higher calling is that you should always ignore your gut, right? Because we're all in this together, and there's something bigger that we can aspire to. You should violate your gut instinct, and that's what's coming next. Take a listen.
I don't need you to comment on this, but I think mental illness is involved in some of this stuff that is online.
Yeah,
I think it's really,
and Glenn,
honestly,
I'll be honest,
I feel bad.
I am not going to waste my
illness.
time. I'm not going to waste my time in combating people, going toe to toe, calling people names. That's just not me. That's not how Charlie operated. There's no reason for me to go down a dark place like that. I'm so tired of the fracture. What drives me nuts is that Charlie, he has worked and provided and has blessed us with so much, like literally his book. He has blessed us with so much wisdom, so much. He's just such a good thought leader. He blessed us with laser focus on the mission, on saving this country. But instead, we're so focused on who did what. Like, yes, we will figure all that out. Yes, this is a murder case. He did not die in a car crash. Yes, that will be handled. But my husband's legacy is not about his murder. My husband's legacy is what he left behind.
I just reject that. Okay, I reject that there's a higher calling that we need to all get around, and the legacy of actually the legacy, if we find out that the government is implicated, and it looks like to me, and I think a lot of people on the outside, the government is implicated, otherwise it wouldn't require every department of the government using propaganda to convince us against common sense, okay? And if we find out that the government is implicated, then actually his legacy is going to be that a person who gave all of himself to helping people get elected, all of himself to this political machine, was ultimately killed by it. And I think that matters to a lot of people. And I think it's obvious it matters to a lot of people because what feels like $1 billion campaign of propaganda against it doesn't seem to be working. There is something very big that we are very close to unpacking here. And the panic that we sense right now in deploying what feels to me to be a really nasty emotional tactic here, basically trying to say to people, how dare you go against the grieving widow? How dare you go against David Hogg, right? And you're like, well, I don't know if David Hogg, I know I'm very sad, obviously, that a school shooting happened. The Parkland shooting at high school should not happen. No child should have to live with that. But why does that mean David Hogg gets to go to Harvard? Right? Does that make sense? Like, does he belong at Harvard? And they go, oh, how dare, how you evil, demonic person. Are you possessed? How could you ever question his authority and whether or not he's equipped to run the charity and speak on, gun issues? He survived a school shooting. That's what they're doing right now. And I want to also say that why I don't love these interviews, and I say this with great deference to Erika. And in the beginning with some of these interviews, I said, look, like, of course, they're going to want to make sure they screen these questions. Like, she's going through a lot. Like, she's transitioning, she's doing this. I was like, I wouldn't want to be in her position. We're 3 months in now. Okay. We are still getting rehearsed answers. And I feel like what is missing from all of this is, I don't know, like passion, normal passion, not this like chat GBT feeling of, well, we all need to unite around the mission. It's like, no, I don't really care about cash. I would just be like, what is the borough doing? Has anybody traced this down? Okay. I don't know if Candace is crazy, but she says the French Foreign Legion was there. Has anybody chased this down? I texted her. I got this information. Okay. It's wrong. That's a dead end. Let me move over here. I've got files. I'm going to run this investigation alongside you, Cash. And I don't know what he's doing. I want like one critique of the FBI, one critique of anything which the public is saying is worth.
Candace, you have done all the critiquing that anyone would ever want to do. You have done enough critiquing that the whole country can just be quiet because you've done enough.
Worthy of critique. Like, it's almost like you're dressing down public perception. Like, people think that you can have enough money to just cut over people's gut instincts. That's what it is. It feels like we're so rich, you don't have the.
Ginger says CIA on her cup stands for Candace is arrogant.
Right to think. Okay? We are rich enough to remove that. So stop thinking. The elites are here. It feels elite. That's why I hate this. It feels elite. It feels like the opposite of whatever turning point felt like when they were the underdogs, right? This entire presentation is elite. I'm on CBS stage with pre-prep questions and Barry Weiss, and I obviously have rehearsed this answer because I got these questions ahead of time. I obviously know I'm going to get asked this, so I'm going to do like, I don't even like, and this is a fact. You can ask anybody who's ever interviewed me. I never ask for questions ahead of time. I don't want to know. I don't want to know the direction it's going into. I never give them anything. I never say we can't talk about this. Things off record. Because even getting questions ahead to me, preparing answers feels fake and gay, right? That just feels rehearsed because it is. It has to be rehearsed. You got the questions ahead of time. And at this stage, I don't like it. I don't like it. I want something that feels anywhere where it feels authentic. Like one question mark that you have, you're like, oh, like I'd like you to be like, I don't know about those text messages. I think Tyler Robinson pulled the trigger, but the text messages are weird. It's just, I trust my team. My team is amazing. And my favorite date is April 24th because it's not too hot and it's not too cold. And all you need is a light jacket. Like it feels fake. It does. I'm sorry. And I am still interested in getting basic answers to our questions. I don't accept that that's somehow going to ruin the court case because that's a nonsense. You cannot logically explain to the public how letting us see Mikey McCoy's phone records is just one example if that's really causing you so much grief. Here they are. Here's who we called on that day. And for
Linda says, just like when she told Turning Point anytime and anywhere, then she wouldn't. Exactly. She has backed out of so many things like that. She won't debate nobody.
For how long? How would that implicate? How would that frustrate your lawyer's efforts? How would the current court case and the jury pool be impacted if you answered about why these Egyptian planes, why it's a statistical anomaly for these Egyptian planes to be surrounding Turning Point USA, Faith events, you and Charlie this many times? How would that impact? And again, I'm a gut player. It's common sense. So forgive me for not being elite enough and educated enough and expert enough to understand how it would impact things. Explain it to me like I'm not a legal expert, you know? Like I don't trust legal experts. I think they're all full of shit. Explain it to me that way. It's not tracking. It's not tracking. And I get it. It's me against the whole world. Actually, it's not. It's me against the elites. We've done this a lot of times. Like I said, Ukraine, COVID, there's a formula here. There's a pattern here. If all of the mainstream apparatus and all of the influencers are pushing something and calling the other thing evil, we're probably about 2 years away from them all then apologizing and being like, I just got it wrong. I shouldn't have told you to get the vaccine. It's a pattern that I've noticed. So I'm going to stick with saying that what happened on September 10th, we are not getting the truth about.